Hey boys, welcome back to another episode of Track Day Rewinds. We're going to be going through my second track day. Now the first one, if you saw the first episode, was quite hilarious. I was struggling so much to try and get the car sideways, literally struggling to clutch kick. And I mean, driving a low powered vehicle and then being taught, you have to keep the clutch in, bring the revs up and then drop it. Me only having Logitech experience, we basically had no idea what we were doing off the rip. But luckily we were coached throughout the day with a good friend of ours, Elliot, and he showed us the ropes and we got there and yeah, it was heaps of fun at the end of the day. This is now day two. Day two was a little bit different because we're not on the beginner track now. We've actually moved over to the main track. And being that we're on the main track of Winston Raceway, we are in D class. There are 4 main classes, A, B, C, D, and there are E. E is the beginner class that we started off in. D class is the first class moving up from there. So everyone's a noob, everyone's spinning out. It's mayhem, it's carnage, it's so much fun. But our goals for this day were to learn how to transition a car, learn what initiation is, and give it a bit of a crack and see how we go with trying to initiate using the handbrake. But yeah, this episode's gonna be filled with funny moments, especially of me spinning out, trying to clutch kick, trying to handbrake, trying to transition a car. We didn't hit the wall like we did on the first event, which is good. I think hitting the wall on our first ever track day, even though it was a little tap when we kind of lost control and understeered off the circuit, sort of really went, oh, well, the car's not clean anymore. It's already hit a wall. What's the worst that can happen? And I guess that sort of really allowed us to just sort of, push the limits a little bit further for my comfortability. But as you'll be able to see from the start of this episode, we had basically little to zero confidence. And then by the end of it, we were entering top of third and we're pulling the handbrake and we're having so much fun. Well, what I thought was fast, but the boys were like, you need to go faster. Anyway, well, let's tune in and you guys can take a look. Come on over. All right, and here we are, day two. Day two was all about speed. I just wanted to be faster. I needed to enter quicker. Wanted to try and make a couple of corners. We started out on the main track because the previous track day we had completed the trainee little course, kind of demonstrated that we can clutch kick and hold an angle. But here we are. We have taken my one of my best mates, Scott, out, and he was a bit more seasoned. He had a couple more track days under his belt. And basically, he was just showing us sort of what to do, giving a bit of advice, and we're trying to take that on board, really trying to nail those main two corners on the back ends. Towards the end of the day, we had a little bit more success. We ended up carrying a bit more speed by entering in third gear, and we learned how to enter corners as well as maintain drift. The car did sound a lot happier compared to last time, but unfortunately, we were still fighting gremlins in the vehicle. The car still was misfiring, and it just sucked to drive. When we got the car dyno tuned, the tuner came back and said that the car made 90 kilowatts, which is a whole lot of nothing. Which is about 150 horsepower, and with being able to rev in the entire rev range, it made it really difficult to drive. As you can see, I have standard seats, and those seats were throwing us around. So Scott was basically telling us that when we're entering a corner, I was entering towards the right of the corner where I need to be more left, and I need to try and guide the car out of the corner further, like wider. We took that advice on board and we actually managed to nail the back ends a fair few times. As you can see, this is more of a clip dump. I've got so many clips, but just wanted to show you guys the progression, going from someone who had no idea how to drive or drift through to being able to link the entire track. Now that didn't happen in this track day, but at least I'm just showing you the fundamentals on how I sort of progressed throughout the day, from the morning session that you're watching here through to the afternoon sessions.
And as you can see, I tried clutch kicking for the first time in third gear, and that didn't work. That did not work. I definitely need more speed. Those two corners there are mainly third gear, and then you come up onto the main straight. We tried to see if we can try and manji the car a little bit. As back then, I only watched it on YouTube. I never actually tried it or done it myself. So here, basically, I had no idea that you could kick the clutch mid-corner and keep the revs up. So Scott was basically saying, hey, like when you're mid-corner, you're able to belt the clutch a couple of times and keep the revs up, which will in turn keep the drift out sideways. So that was the end of the first session. We learned a couple of things about how to, counter the car, how to like grab the wheel, and we also learned that we can clutch kick mid-corner to keep the revs up and allow us to continue the drift. And as you can see, I was so happy. I was so happy, even though it was so shit. It was so shit, but I was so happy because, first time drifting. Attempting a handbrake entry with my mate Habib. Habib basically said, look, go in, pull the handbrake, and you'll see the car will set yourself up, just like that. It was the very, very first time I was entering with a handbrake. So Scott was teaching me the mid to end of drift, and Habib was teaching me when you're entering a corner, pull the handbrake a bit, and then just it'll start to disrupt the car, and it'll make it a lot easier than clutch kicking mid corner. I then realized that whilst I was lifting the handbrake and clutching in, I can rev the car to the moon, and when I drop the handbrake, I drop the clutch at the same time, and all that momentum and that jolt in the rear end of the car will basically keep the revs up, spin the wheels, and allow me to skid the corner. So here he's telling me I need to be a lot faster. And I guess it was a fear factor thing, right? Like the second time ever out on a track, just need to be faster, need to be faster. Here we are charging up the back straight, coming into the S's, bit more speed this time. And I pulled the handbrake in a straight line. I just find it so cute and hilarious how excited I was for doing so bad. But look, that's the sport of drifting, especially at a grassroots level. Like, when you're grassroots, it doesn't matter about how much smoke you plume, how crazy your build is. It just only comes down to you and having fun. And then we threw a little loop in there. Unfortunately, we did rev the car too much on that initiation. Oh, and we nearly hit the tire barriers. I didn't counter steer at all, actually, pretty much. I just kind of clutch kicked the car, dropped it, and then prayed. And there we go. I found that happy spot on the wheel, gave the throttle a feather, and I sort of was feeding the wheel into the corner, then allowing it to counter steer on its own, and then feeding it again. Alright, here we go, another lap. Now we know, okay, we've worked out how to counter steer, we worked out how to feed the wheel, we worked out throttle control, we know we have to pull the handbrake on initiation. Let's attempt to put it all together in one lap. And it went horribly. So that was the back M's. Now we're powering down to the S's. There we go. That was the speed that I needed. So now I kind of realize, okay, in third gear, I did that first initiation, I did that first corner, I was so happy. I just need a bit more speed than expected, and we loop. Here we go, can we link the M's? No, we can't. We don't know how to transition yet. That was the end of that second session. And then I'm like, okay, Scott, jump back in the car. I'll show you what I've learned. I'll show you what Habib taught me. He taught me how to initiate and enter with a handbrake in third gear. Watch this. The car is so bad. It was so unhappy. It was so unhappy. So I got Scott yelling at me in the passenger seat, clutch, 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 because at that point, if I did clutch kick, I probably would have maintained and kept the drift out. But unfortunately, we got a little scared and we backed off. We nearly got the initiation on the S's. We either needed more speed or we needed to enter a little bit later. We entered a little bit too early. There it is. Scott's telling me, kick the clutch, kick the clutch, kick the clutch, kick the clutch.
So you don't have the speed, you don't have the grunt to just plan and go. I'm entering it quicker. Yeah, but enter quicker. Like as you get your confidence up, just enter quicker and quicker and quicker. It's just like, I feel like you're fucking flying. Yeah.
So at this point, Scott's saying, stop being a little bitch and enter faster and clutch kick the hell out of this car. You need to abuse the car. But here's me saying, I feel like I'm flying, but I'm only entering at like 100 and 120 kilometers an hour. I need to be faster. And there's that clutch kick that I've been chasing all day mid-corner. And with that extra clutch kick came a little bit more inertia than expected, and unfortunately we did spin. But look, that's all a part of it. Spin out, figure out the limit, and go again. And there we go. That's the first time I had actually transitioned the car from one drift to another with the handbrake, and it felt so good. We nearly nailed it. We tried it on third gear, but unfortunately we did spin out. Look, it's definitely the progression of the track day, going from basically just clutch dumping to initiating with a handbrake, transitioning with a handbrake. We're slowly getting there. We're slowly getting there. Keep it pinned, mate. Keep it pinned. Ah, unlucky. Unfortunately, we carried a lot of speed. That was the most amount of speed I carried through the middle M at Winton. And then, unfortunately, I just didn't know how to wash off the speed and to come out to the very end of the M's. There we go. So we finally got smooth through the last turn of the track there, coming into third gear, probably about 120 k's an hour. Nip the handbrake, full throttle, and load the clutch right up. And then I guess the main focus went from the M's to the S's, because third gear just was so much more fun than second. Just realizing how much more speed and how much more fun more speed is, like I was addicted to it. And off the track we go.
You almost had it.
Almost had it, and then attempt number 50 something. And then we got a little bit too excited throughout the day, and I think we stretched our handbrake cables. And that was the end of the handbrake cables, and then that wrapped up the final session for our second drift day.
Man, what a second episode. Now, we went from that first episode to basically only coming into this episode knowing how to clutch kick, and then by the end of it, man, I was so ecstatic. I was so happy. I felt like we were getting so much progression in my driving and in the car. We went from just basically loading the clutch up and dumping it in the middle of the apex through to now being able to drive into 120, 130 kilometers an hour, pop the handbrake, top a third, and bum drag our way into turn one of the S's at Winton. That progression, I was bloody wrapped. I was so happy. We did have some little mishaps in there where we spun out a few times, but there were definitely some points of gold in there that I really, really, really loved, and that really boosted my confidence up. Pretty much by the end of this track day, the bug officially bit me. I was 100% addicted, absolutely addicted to drifting. It was the only thing that I wanted to do. I didn't care about anything else, didn't care about anyone else. I was like, I just want me, my family, and my mates to go out and just go kill tires. But yeah, look, we had an absolute ball. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the progression from being an absolute noob to then sort of going a little less noob towards the end of the day, still not knowing what I'm doing, but still having a lot of fun doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, please hit the sub button, hit the like button, throw down a comment. I want to hear some of your track day funny stories. There's definitely always some funny track day stories that people have come up with and I've heard about, especially on the old Twitch streams. Speaking of Twitch streams, we are going to be firing that up very, very soon. I've just been a little bit disorganized. I had to redo OBS. I had to figure out a whole bunch of things. But I think we're pretty much almost all sorted now. So within the next month, we're going to definitely be popping some streams up live on Twitch so we can all get some doors together. And yeah, it will be a good one. And I'll catch you guys on episode 3. Stay tuned because it's going to be a wet one. Peace.